Everybody, and welcome to the eSign training today. My name is Nikki Kazurgs and I'm very excited to be here with you today.
I'm Freddie Khapola and I'm excited to join you in this eSign webinar today. Nikki, please tell us more about eSign.
Before we get started, Freddie, can I just take us a step back? I've been told I need to do some housekeeping rules with you. Remember guys, we want this to be interactive to some extent, so we'd like you to log into YouTube so that you can comment and ask us questions. Our head of legal, Greg, will be in the comment section answering any legal questions. Freddie and I are not legal experts, so we won't be able to answer all those questions, and Greg will be there answering. If you have any difficulties with seeing the screen, if it's unclear, please change it to 720p or higher, and the screen should then be clearer. We are going to have a 15-minute Q&A at the end, and we will try and get to all the questions we can. We will chat briefly about the questions that you ask, and if necessarily log into the system and show you how it's working. We are going to post a feedback form just as about the Q&A starts. Please respond to that so you can get your unverified CPD points. Please like and subscribe our channel. Okay, let's get started, Freddie. Freddie, we've been pulling some interesting stats out of the system since eSign has been launched. Can you maybe just explain to us what we're seeing in our system?
Yeah, the data is showing that 80% of documents are signed within the first 24 hours.
Wow.
That is amazing.
That is amazing.
And interestingly, the data is also showing that some documents are signed within 3 minutes of being sent.
Wow.
That's something that traditional methods could not achieve.
And this is all, you know, without leaving your computer, you're getting documents signed. I was looking through the data that you sent me when we were prepping for this webinar, and I noticed that some people are like signing at 3 o'clock in the morning, you know,
Yes.
Documents being sent at 3 in the morning, and at 10 past 3, there's already a signature on that document. Do we sort of know why that might be happening? I mean, 3 o'clock's an odd time to be signing.
Well, it's because the system is mobile friendly.
Okay, and it probably, you know, I noticed a lot of signatures from Australia and United States and Germany, etc. So this really gives you such a long reach. You can literally get hold of your customers anywhere in the world to sign those documents.
Yes.
And, you know, get this done. I was noticing that some people are taking up to 6 days to sign, and then other people, as you said, were signing within 3 minutes.
Yes.
And I think I noted that the average time to sign a document to get that signature was 18 hours, which is pretty amazing. Yes. You know, it's sent on one business day, and the next day people are actually signing that document. And again, that's all without having to worry. You know, eSign is an amazing system. The other day I received an email from my insurance company, and they sent me a bunch of documents that I actually need to sign, and I didn't have access to a printer. I was working from home, and I had to really worry about where I was going to go with these documents. Eventually I went to a local postnet, emailed them the forms that I received, which, I mean, I don't really want to share my information with them, and signed the documents that way. It was such a mission for me, and if they had had a solution like eSign in place, that actually wouldn't have happened. Yeah. I investigated getting another solution and using some other sort of signatory tool, but I didn't want to trust these people that I don't know with my information to create my signature, and I didn't know how valid it would be, you know. So eSign really, I think, takes away that whole hassle.
Yeah, definitely does.
You know, and Freddie was saying that 3 minutes to get a document signed. That's amazing. I mean, it took me about an hour to get my document signed going to my local postnet, and I'm very lucky that it's so close to home. So, you know, 3 minutes, even if I was in the office, is less than it would take me to walk to the printer.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic. Okay, guys, I can see I'm being prompted that I need to take you on to the next section. I want to just tell you what we're going to cover today. We're going to do systems training on eSign. The first step is we're going to take you through the 4-step process on how to create a document on eSign. We are then going to show you how to send that document to your tenant, and once your tenant receives the document, you can see how easy it is to complete and sign. We're going to show you how the eSign system is a real-time document status update system. We're going to create a template and allow you to link that to a URL on your website where people can apply through the rental application form. We're going to show you how eSign isn't just an electronic signature system, it's a whole document management solution. And we are going to show you then how to load your branding on the TPN documents so that your tenant sees your information first. Once we've done that, we're going to answer any questions that may come up. Okay, let's get started. So, Freddie, how do people get access to eSign?
Well, first of all, you have to purchase either a residential lease pack or HR lease pack or commercial lease pack on our shop. But Nikki, please tell us how much all this costs.
So the residential lease pack I think is about 1,100 Rand per year. The commercial lease pack is slightly more expensive because of the documents that it contains. And the HR pack is again on par with the residential lease pack at about 1,100 Rand per year. You can buy a Word or a PDF version on those packs. The PDF version is about 50% of the cost of the packs. And on the Word version, you are able to update your branding, while the PDF version isn't necessarily the case. You can only use it with the TPN branding.
So you're saying that for only 500, I can get access to eSign?
Yeah. So not only can you get access to eSign on the residential lease pack, you get the 32 documents that comprise the full pack. You get all our updates during that 12-month period. So anytime the law changes, we update those packs immediately. And those updates pull immediately into the eSign system. So you're always using the most relevant information and the most commonly used documents. I think our documents are considered one of the best practice documents in the industry. And yeah, I mean, that's
amazing
not bad.
value.
We also don't limit you on the amount of signatures. So a lot of these companies charge you per signature. TPN doesn't. We're going to let you send as many documents as you can and actually just try and help you get these documents signed as fast as possible.
Perfect.
Okay, let's get started. So all of you are aware of the TPN shop. This is where you would go in here and you would go into the eSign system. So you'd go to the products page that you've purchased. You would click on the little green eSign logo next to the document that you want, and the document would then pull through to the eSign system. And it's automatically created that document for you. On our step 1, we allow you to name the document. This is give the document any name that you can to ensure that you are able to find it at a later date.
Yeah, this is an important step because whatever you name your document, you're going to be using that information to search for your document. So Nikki, I know you've done an investigation on the best ways to name your document.
So I think most people are using either a property address or, you know, the code that they use internally to file or invoice tenants, etc. It really depends on what you need from the system. Remember, this is a filing system as well. So whatever you call your document, you need to be able to search for it in 12 months' time when that renewal comes up so that you can create that renewal of the lease agreement. Okay, so that's step 1. It really is simple. Step 2 is setting up your signatories. So when you set up your signatories, you enter the information for each role of the person who might sign the document. We need a first name, a surname, a cell phone number, an email address. Your cell phone number and your email address are used to send the OTP and the email with the link. Freddie, I see that our team is zooming in on the sign only field. What exactly is that?
Okay, so basically we have 2 permissions. Sign only allows the signatory to only sign the document, and the complete permission allows the signatory to fill in assigned fields that the document owner will assign to them to fill in, and also to sign the document.
So sign only literally is all you can do is sign the document, and complete will allow them to fill in the schedule where you've allowed them to, and then sign the document.
Perfect. Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, so you would create your signatories with all the correct information, and at any stage, if, for example, you had 2 landlords who jointly owned the property and you needed them both to sign this mandatory disclosure that I'm creating, you would be able to add another landlord by clicking on that little button that says add another landlord. Okay, so that is our first step done and a second step done and explained. Let's go on to step 3. So step 3 is where you complete your schedule. I just want to highlight quickly, Freddie, it's showing the 4 steps at the top of the button. Some of the blocks are green and some are blue. What does that mean?
Well, the green blocks are completed, but because they're green, you can also click on them and go back and modify any information that you need changed.
Okay, and then the blue is where I am right now in the
Yes.
document. So it's kind of like a breadcrumb trail where you would go through your document. And if I wanted to edit my signatories, I would just click on the little step 2 and it would take me back to that page and I'd be
Yes.
able to edit all the information. That's a really great tool. Okay guys, so now we're going to complete our schedule. If you notice on the schedule, you'll notice that there is a little red block in each little field in the schedule. That is the signatory that has been given permission to complete that field. We have sort of gone through every single document and decided who you might want to give access to edit that schedule. If I have all the information though, Freddie, my understanding is I can just type all the information there and it doesn't matter who has access. If I have completed it while I'm doing this document before I send it, nobody can edit what I've
Yes,
typed.
no one will be able to edit it. And then on the signatory setup, we just set all the signatories to sign only.
Okay, great. So here we go. Some of the blocks are grey and some are red. The red blocks are mandatory. That means that the signatory is not going to be able to complete that. The signatory is not going to be able to sign the document until they've completed it.
Yes.
So if, for example, I received this document and something was asked for me to complete, you wouldn't actually be able to leave until you've completed that field.
There's validation when you click the sign in button to check that all the required fields are filled in for the signature.
Okay. You're also able to then go in and edit the people who can edit it. So say, for example, you have 2 tenants on a rental application. You're actually able to go and give tenant 2 access to fill in the information for tenant 2.
Yes.
I understand you would just click the little red block that gives the role, and it would then bring up a permissions page and you could use the drop down button to select the correct signatory.
Yeah, but it's also important to note that if you set your signature to sign only, they won't appear in the drop down.
Okay, that's important to know, guys. So this is where jumping back to step 2 might be helpful because you've realized that you want them to complete some information that you may not have. You can now go back to step 2 and change that signatory from a sign only role to a complete role. Okay, great. So we've now completed our schedule and the system is just giving us a little message. It's saying to us, if you go further than this, you aren't going to be able to go back and change anything. So we're going to say that we're 100% happy. We're not going to go back to step 1 or step 2 or step 3. We're going to click yes, and we're now on our final step. Guys, as you can see, this is very simple. The system guides you through it. You're used to completing these schedules. So on this step 4, all you would do is send your document. Now, Freddie, from what I understand, this then generates an email to your first signatory.
Yes. It's also important to also note that after this step, you will not be able to modify the document. So what will happen is that the first signatory will receive an email, which is the workflow that we've built into the system. And once they sign, the second signatory will receive an email. And after they sign, the other signatory will receive an email until the document is signed.
So it's sort of like a cascading effect. You get your first person to sign, they complete all the relevant information. The first person then acknowledges all the information that's been completed. They would complete any information that is a non-financial or wouldn't change the terms of the contract, etc., until the document is fully signed.
Yeah, and that's without the document owner doing anything. The system handles everything for the document owner.
So it's really hassle-free.
Yes.
That's awesome. We're going to show you a quick video now of what it looks like when I receive a document on my iPhone. It's not the latest model iPhone, it's an iPhone 10. And here we go. Here it is. I've received the email into my phone. I click the open button, which directs me through to the eSign website. As soon as I've clicked that button, I receive the little OTP. It comes through to my cell phone. I would type it into the field, accept the terms and conditions, and I would be then taken into the document that we've just created. Here we go in the mandatory disclosure form. You can see the grey blocks are where I, as the document owner, have already completed the forms, and the white blocks are where there is information that I can complete as the landlord. I'm now going through all the little red blocks and marking the information, disclosing the condition of the various items in my property to my potential tenant. Remember, I can't go past this unless I've marked this document. I have to complete everything in red, whether it is a yes or a no or not applicable. It has to have something in that field for it to be complete. So here I am going through it. It does look like a long document on a phone, of course, due to space. And here I am typing something free flow. I think I'm disclosing an issue with the windows in the property. They're the old steel frame windows and they don't always close properly, so sometimes it can be a little bit breezy. As the person signing the document, I can now read all the different clauses, and as soon as I can see that the entire document is displayed, it will then allow me to sign. Okay, so I click the orange button and I sign the document, and that is me done.
Wow, that was simple and easy.
It's really easy. I'm just scrolling through here quickly to show you that once I've done that, I can't edit anything on the document. It's now signed and nobody can edit it. I can download the document by clicking the little grey block with a little arrow to a piece of paper, and I can save it on my computer as a PDF if I want to. Okay, there we are. So guys, that's as simple as it is to complete the documents for your tenants. We're now going to take you through what you would see on the system. So here we are. I've completed the mandatory disclosure form, and you can see that the system's giving me updates on that document. We're just going to zoom in a little bit so I can show you how that works. There is my mandatory disclosure form. You can see that the first signatory, Enzo, has signed the document. Freddie, what are these status updates?
Well, basically signed shows that the signatory has signed the document, and awaiting signature shows that the link or email has been sent to the signatory, but we are awaiting signature from the signatory. And link not sent shows that the link has not been sent to the signatory yet. And this is all handled by the workflow.
That's fantastic. I can see another status on the system there. It says no signatory setup. I'm assuming that means exactly what it says. I think we've tried to keep this as user-friendly as possible. So literally, if it means link not sent, your email hasn't been sent for a signature. So there we go. And eSign is giving you those real-time status updates.
Yes.
Okay. eSign can also be used as a template for your website. What we've activated on certain documents is something called a multi-use form. What exactly is that, Freddie, and how do you use it?
Well, basically, it allows you to create one document and use it multiple times. It's actually one of my favorite features.
In eSign?
Yes.
Okay, guys, I think this is a little bit of a game changer. So what this is exactly is when you're going through the document, you would select allow multiple recipients, and it wouldn't make you specify any specific applicant details. Once you've selected the allow multiple recipients, it would take you through the 4-step process to get this document sent out. And it has compulsory fields that you need to fill in as the agent or the landlord. Generally, it's your financial information or any information that you don't require from the tenant to rent the property or to do those credit checks. And they would know exactly what they're signing for. There is also a field in there that allows you to enter your email address, so should you require 3 months bank statements or 3 pay slips, a copy of the ID, then you can request those from the potential applicant, and they would be able to email those to you. So here we are, we've set up the form, and I'm going to click the little button called Generate Code. This then brings up a screen that shows you information. Now, Freddie, I'm not technical at all. What exactly shows on here, and what do I do with it?
Okay, so what you basically see on the screen is the shortcode URL to the document. So you can copy that and you can send it via WhatsApp, SMS, or email to any recipient that will be able to complete the document.
That's fantastic. If I can understand it and show people what that means in practice, I asked one of our estate agents from Dennis William Properties if we could use their website. They were really quick in adopting this feature. I spoke to Gareth, and he has created a little button on their website called Rental Application. And after he's displayed the features of the property, the potential tenant would come in here, click the Rental Application button, which would then direct them to a login page on the eSign website. They would go into this login page, enter their cell phone number, and what would then happen, Freddie?
So after they enter the cell phone number, they'll receive an OTP on the cell phone, and then they'll click Open Document, which will allow them to open the document and fill it in and sign it.
Okay, so they would see something like this, right?
Yes.
Here is the actual rental application for a property in Pinetown. They would go through, complete all the fields on the document that are applicable to them, and when I'm sitting nicely in my office, I'm going to receive that signed form into my documents page on the eSign website. So here you can see the rental application form for San Michelle. Nikki Brown has there signed a form and completed it, and I have another form coming in for that same template, and all it shows is a cell phone number at this point in time. Freddie, can you just explain to us why we're only seeing a cell phone number on that document?
Okay, yeah, at this point it just means that the recipient has entered his or her cell phone number and used the OTP to open the document, but has not actually signed or filled in the document.
So it's kind of like a lead. It's somebody
Yes.
who's potentially interested in the property and they saw the form and haven't completed it. You know, it could be that they were at work and they didn't have time to complete it. So there it is as a potential lead for you to call that client and potentially get that form completed and get a tenant into your property. eSign is not only a system that gets sent for signatories. I mentioned it a few times in the webinar, but it's also a document management system, right? So we have built a dashboard for people to understand what's happening in eSign. We don't want to go into too much detail on the dashboard, but I think it basically filters by date range.
Yes, by default we've set it to 60 days.
Okay, so it filters for a 60-day date range. It then allows you to click one of those blue buttons and filter by a specific status, and it gives you stats on how many of your documents are still awaiting signature, how many have already been signed, and where they may be. I know we both have our own favorites on this dashboard.
Yeah, my favorite is recent activity, which shows you the document activity of your eSign documents. So it shows you when the documents were signed, when the link was sent, when the document was viewed, or when the document was also created. So it's quite useful feature.
I think that is quite good, especially if you're managing quite a few properties. You're getting your real-time updates, Freddie.
Yes.
I agree. I've got to say though, my favorite is the most used documents. I love a shortcut. And what this does is it displays my top documents that I use most frequently, and it allows me to actually create the document directly off this first page. I don't then have to go through the Documents tab, create a document, etc. I can literally just click the little blue Create a Document next to this document, and I'm actually for away, the document starts creating. Okay, that is our dashboard. On eSign then, on our next page, which is our full documents page, we go more into how this is a document management solution. Freddie, I can see on my page that I've got a little folder called deleted items. What exactly is that? I didn't create it.
Yeah, it's always there. So when you click on it, it will show you the files that have been deleted and the files that can be restored.
Okay, so if I delete a document and I realize that I've made a mistake, it's going to be in that deleted items folder. Okay, how long is it going to be there for?
It's going to be there for 30 days, and then after 30 days it will be removed off the system.
Okay, and once it's gone, it's gone, unfortunately. Okay,
yes.
I think that's just something important to mention. please be careful on deleting documents. Once they've deleted and they've passed that 30-day period, they are gone. They are your legal documents that have been signed, and unless you're saving them somewhere else, you're not going to have access to that document, and it is a binding agreement that you may need later. As part of our document management solution, we actually have a folder structure, so you can create as many folders and subfolders as you want. So if you create a folder, you can take all those documents that you potentially wanted to clean out of your system and actually file them in a folder where you can access later. Remember, we're not limiting your storage. We're not going to delete a whole bunch of documents once you've reached a certain limit. We want you to keep these documents in the system so that you can access them when your lease renewal's up, etc., and they're always there on file for you. So create a folder, store those documents. My suggestion is if you've created a document by accident and it's not going to be signed because there was a mistake, I would delete it. But if it's been signed, save it.
Yes.
Okay. The 6 buttons on the top of the screen are also quick access links. So if you're waiting for one specific document, for example, for waiting for a signature, you can click the little button and it'll take you through to the documents that are sitting there.
Yeah. And then you can also, on that screen, click search and enter your document label to find the specific document that you're searching for. Okay,
sorry, that is quite an important point. I'm just going to take you back to that, sorry. There's a little search button above the grey bar. That will allow you to search for the document. You can enter a signatory name and it'll search by any field on the screen that you can see, and you can literally find any document.
Yeah.
It'll search through your folders, it'll do all the work for you, and you just have to click that button and find it. That's awesome. Thanks, Freddie. Here we go, again on our dashboard page. This is sort of our main landing page. We're going to take you through how to brand your documents. Now, I mentioned earlier that if you're a Word subscriber, you can rebrand your documents, but if you subscribe to PDF, you can't. So how would I navigate and get there, Freddie?
So on the top nav, there's a settings link that you click, and after you've clicked that link, you drag your company logo, and then you click save to save your company logo.
Okay, so here quickly I've inserted a fabulous logo. I'm not a designer or anybody creative by any means. So I created this logo on a Word document. I took the recommended image sizes and I literally put my logo in there. And once I've done that, any document I create will now have my fabulous logo on. I know that your companies have generally spent a lot of money on your branding. Here's your opportunity to put it on every single form you send to everybody. It really is awesome. Freddie, say there are 3 people in the same company using the same eSign system. Would they all be able to use that same branding?
Yes.
Okay, so everybody who is then in the company would see that logo and be able to send out documents using that logo. Freddie, we were talking about the signatories earlier and making sure that you get all the details right. We do have a functionality within the system that allows you, once the document has been sent, to edit those signatories.
So once the document has been sent and you find that you still are waiting for a signature, you can open the document and click on the signatory and check if the email or the cell phone number is correct. If it's not correct, update it and resend the link again.
Okay, once you click that little pen button, which allows you to edit the signatory, here you go. It gives you all the details that you've basically seen on the first screen. The only thing that does not show here is the permissions. Unfortunately, once your document is sent with specific permissions, that is it. This here will allow you to change the email address or edit that cell phone number that you might have transposed some numbers and send the link again to that tenant.
Yes.
It's actually one of our most frequently asked questions is that my tenant hasn't received the OTP. Freddie, can we just sort of discuss what the OTP is and how long it lasts and, some more information?
The OTP is basically valid for 24 hours, but it can be reset if ever the tenant or the recipient takes longer than 24 hours to sign the document.
So what would happen is they would go click the link in the email to take them to your specific document. receive an OTP, and that OTP would allow them access to the document for 24 hours.
Yes.
Now, what happens if I go in after 24 hours? Am I going to receive another OTP, or do I need to resend the OTP to myself?
You need to resend the OTP to yourself.
Okay, so there is a little resend button on that OTP page, and the tenant would be able to do that. Guys, we've actually come to the end of our formal presentation, and we're going to now just go through some of the questions that we are being asked. I've got some questions here already that are coming through. We've been asked now about whether international phone numbers actually work to send OTPs.
Yes, international phone numbers work.
Okay, so let's just talk about how you would enter that international phone number. So I have a tenant who resides in Australia. The international dialing code for Australia is +61. I would enter the phone number as +61 865, etc., etc.,
Yes.
and then the tenant would receive that OTP wherever they are in the world.
Yes.
Correct? Okay, so you just need to know your international dialing codes. We recommend you use the plus in front of the number with the dialing code. So, you know, the United States is +1, the UK is +44, etc., until you enter the rest of the phone number. Here we go, we have another question. It says, can I draft a master document so I don't have to fill in certain details all the time, which remains the same in each document?
Yes, as we've displayed, it's that multi-use functionality that we were showing on the system.
Okay, so they would set up a multi-use template and say they've got a block of flats with 5 different apartments. All the details for the flats are the same, just the actual flat number. They could set up 5 template documents and use that link as many times as they needed.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Saves a lot of time.
I'm sure that would save a lot of time for anybody doing this. We've again got a question on the packs. If you go into the TPN shop under the products page, you'll be able to purchase the packs. There is a product called eSign. You can just click on that little button and it'll show you all the packs that are enabled in eSign. Unfortunately, the sales pack cannot be enabled on eSign because of the Alienation of Land Act. I'm sure Greg's answering this question now in the chat. The Alienation of Land Act requires you to actually do a handwritten signature. Okay, again, we've got a few OTP questions. I know that after a while we stop the OTP from being generated to the user. So if your tenant has gone into the form to fill it in and they've requested an OTP, they've received it, they've decided that the form's a little bit long to fill in at work and they're rushing to that meeting or wherever they need to be, how many times are we going to generate an OTP for them?
We only allow OTP to be generated 3 times from the system, and then after that they can contact our help desk, which will help them in resetting.
And I just, as I understand it, it's sort of a security feature.
Yes.
We're trying to stop people from wasting your time and our time by spamming you with applications that are not valid, etc. So we limit it to 3. Thereafter, we see it that it's potential fraud or somebody who's accessing the system that shouldn't be, and we actually stop it. So you would just need to contact our help desk system. They would be able to unblock that for you and allow that person to access the system again. We have another question here about signatories not initialing each page. So if I print the document, I need to initial every single page to show that I've seen that page and I've read all the clauses and agreements that are in that page. On the electronic eSign system, we don't do that. Freddie, do you know why?
I think legally for an electronic document, you don't need to initial all the pages because you've got access to the whole document on your mobile or on your PC.
Okay, and we actually put measures in place as well, if I can just build on Freddie's answer, to stop you from signing the document before the entire document has displayed. So our system will not allow you to sign a document until the entire document has shown on the screen and actually allows you to do that. So far we've got quite a few questions. Let's see. sorry, I'm taking a little while to read these. It says, you as an agent set up your signature. Will the other party where you send the form to sign also have to set up a signature? And if so, how?
So I assume that the document owner will have already set up the signatories.
So when you enter the signatory's name, like in our document we had, I think it was Enzo Jacobs who was signing the document. When I enter his first name and surname into that signatories field in step 2, that is the name that will populate for them to sign. If, for example, Enzo likes to use a second name, which is Frederick, he would then edit the signatory field, type in Enzo Frederick Jacobs, and he would sign the document using that name. So it actually doesn't need to be set up before you send the document. It is literally done as you're signing the document.
Yeah.
Okay, that's perfect. We've had a question about whether we would allow, we have loaded the online, the property inspection form. At the moment, that is not available on the eSign system. The reason for that is the functionality doesn't exist exactly where you can reuse that same form 12 months later to do an inbound and an outgoing inspection. We will have a look at that in the course of the next few months to see how we can make that work.
Yeah.
Just to also, if anybody has questions on property inspections, we did a really interesting webinar last week, which you can go back and find on our YouTube channel. And we had a panel of, I think, 3 different experts in the field that were actually able to give us input into it from a very legal and a practical point of view. It's worthwhile having a watch if you may have questions. I'm not sure how the timing's going, but I can't see too many more questions coming through. We did do a poll, and I think you are able to see the poll feedback answers in the chat on the webinar. I can't see any other questions that need to be asked. If you've asked something and we haven't answered it, please contact our help desk. They'll be able to help you at any stage. Should your question be of a legal nature, please contact our legal team and they'll be able to offer you the best advice. Freddie, is there anything else I think I've missed today?
No, we've pretty much covered everything.
Okay, thank you everybody. I understand it was quite a long training session. I hope we've covered all your questions. Freddie and I are really passionate about eSign and we want what's best for you and to help you get those documents signed. I really think it's the way forward and the way the world's moving, especially with the rising cost of petrol and more people working from home to save money. So if you have any questions or suggestions from what you'd like to see on eSign, please let us know. We're always willing to see what you need and try and help. And that's it from us today, I think.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.
Cheers.